Welcome, Android Authority viewers. My name is Jayce, and the Android gods have decreed that Android Authority hosts should do some sort of 5 fun facts about me, or answer 5 non-tech related questions that we get. So, for example, what does it look like behind the scenes? It's a hack job. See? Lights. Green screen. More lights. And, like, hacked lamp lights. It ain't pretty. Here we go. So yes, one of the most popular non-tech related questions I get is what is your background and how did you get into tech news? Well, I'm originally from here. I went to school to study theater and musical theater. Yeah, I'm talking like tonight. Yeah, seriously. But then I got the opportunity to tour with educational theaters and toured many different countries and got a chance to learn all those languages, had a great time. I was here, and countless other places, and I loved it. But then, you know, kids came along and suddenly I was a stay-at-home dad with very little time to myself, except for late at night when the kiddies were asleep. Then most of my spare time was doing this.
He was right there!
And as any of you hardcore gamers will know, when you get obsessed with it, you want to start building your own rig, building your own PC. It's cheaper and you can maximize the amount of power you have in your rig. I played competitive first-person shooters, starting with Rogue Spear way back in 2001. By 2005, I was playing Battlefield 2, and I joined a clan, Tag, Night Stalkers Regiment, and eventually Adult Gamers Pub, and I was with them for several years. Great group of guys, and we played like almost every day. But that really started my fascination with tech and the whole tech world and how it's changing our lives. And so I got right into it. I was listening to This Week in Tech, Leo Laporte and all his crew there, and I'm still an avid fan of Leo. And so I started my own YouTube channel called How to Become TV. It's still up and running. It's moderately small. It's only like 6,000 subscribers, but it got me started, and I would interview successful people in their careers. So if you were searching for how to become a teacher, for example, you could find my videos there on YouTube, and it would help you pursue that career in the best way you can. But I found that most people were interested in my tech-related videos, the how to become a software developer or engineer videos. And so I just devoted all the energies and resources of the channel just on software engineering, and it took off a little bit, got a little bit more interest, but that got the attention of XDA developers, and they invited me to audition for them, and I made shows for them, and I think a lot of you found me there on XDA. Last year I did that for about 7-8 months. It was like an internship. I got paid almost nothing, but I learned a lot, and I was great opportunity to do it. I'm really grateful they took me on. But that got the attention of Android Authority and the D&D, the Android gods as we call them. They contacted me, and I got to join Android Authority, and so that's how that happened. The second question is, how do I become a tech journalist? Yeah, so I'm a little queasy on answering that question because I don't consider myself a tech journalist per se. I'm more of a tech pundit. I try and sift through the information and give you an educated opinion, so it saves you some work. But this question has come up repeatedly, and so I wanted to talk about what new media has done and how this has really changed the game. I mean, in the past, you needed a degree and you need to get an internship somewhere in some sort of publication, and you can still do that, but it has changed dramatically. Because the barrier of entry to get into this is so much lower, in some ways it's actually harder, not easier. So what I would recommend is that you start your own channel, your own blog, your own outlet in some manner, and demonstrate that you can build an audience, that you can keep people's attention, and that it can be linked to and referred to and talked about. Once you do that, you can then apply to some place like Android Authority or whatever publication you want to work for, and demonstrate that you can get attention. I mean, that's really how it works. If I had contacted Android Authority 18 months ago, they probably would have said, you got to prove yourself a little bit more. So that's what you need to do. Build a portfolio that demonstrates your skills and ability. So, fun fact about me that many of you will not know, but people who know me personally know that one of my obsessions are dogs. That's right. When I like something, I tend to geek out on it and just pour lots of energy into it. So there was several years where every day I would read about dogs, dog history, dog breeding practices, and the purposes for which those breeds were created. So I have this uncanny ability where someone can point to any dog a pure breed or a mutt, and I can tell you what breeds make up that mutt, or if it's a purebred, where that purebred comes from, no matter how rare the breed, and where the best breeders are to find that breed, and what are the functions of that breed, the original functions of that breed. So for example, this is a Central Asian Ovcharka. And Central Asian Ovcharka is regarded as the original kind of godfather of dogs, the bridge, the missing link, you could say, between wolves and dogs. Many people think it's the Tibetan Mastiff because it's one of the oldest breeds. It's not. There's recent research that debunks that. But in one of my favorite breeds, it's called the Renaissance Bulldog. Not Renaissance, but Renaissance Bulldog. It's one of the family of alternative bulldogs or Old English bulldogs. Breeders have tried to recreate the original healthy bulldog of old and not the crippled one that we commonly see today. Yeah, dogs, love it. Wow, this is going longer than I expected. Last question is, what is the future of Android Weekly or Android Q&A? And Android Q&A actually has some news coming up. We're going to change things a little bit. The show's still going on, and I'll still answer your questions, but we've found a way where we can answer more people's questions and go to harder questions, because I'm sort of confined to general, more mainstream questions here on the show. But I'm going to put out a show this week that's going to address that, so watch for that. But as far as the news, Android Weekly, originally when the Android gods and I talked about this, it was all about trying to be the Jon Stewart or the Stephen Colbert of Android news, right? To take something that is fun, yet informative and educational. I mean, there's just a plethora of tech news out there, and you've got to find a way to distinguish yourself in a way that's kind of true to you and who you are. And so for me, I read all your comments, and I know, especially in the first month or two, there's a lot of people, not a lot, maybe 10% of the people complaining that there was, too much humor for humor's sake. And I took that to heart, and I think in some cases that was true, some not, but I try to make the humor relevant to the Android news that I'm actually referring to. And I think I'm getting better at that because I do want to make something that's really informative, but also fun. So love your feedback on that. I shall see you guys later on next week's Android Weekly coming up this weekend, and tomorrow's Android Q&A. See you then.